What's up? How you guys doing? Here we go. We're going to talk about the Peavey 6505. Told you guys I would do this video. Doing it right now. Before I do that, thank you Rebellion Republic for the new Exodus shirt. You guys kick ass. If you guys want to go check out their site, link will be provided down below. Check out their band shirts. They got some great Arch Enemy, some Carcass stuff. They got some kick-ass Exodus shit. Love it. Love everything that they have. It's badass. It's great. My new favorite site for buying band shirts. Alright, so I've been talking about doing this Peavey 6505 video. I'm also going to do a video later where we just talk about my Marshall cab. It's just too much to put into one video, but I'm going to kind of talk about some of the features of the 6505, talk about why I like this head and the way that I like to try to use it. And if you guys have played on one, then you understand. If you don't like it, that's cool too, but this is just kind of why I like the head, so I'm going to kind of talk about that. And thank you if you guys liked, shared, commented, reposted, whatever. The Slipknot video that I did a week ago, I did a cover for Before I Forget, and we're sitting at just shy of 500 views for that video, which is awesome. Thank you so much for that, because that means a lot to me. That song's killer. I love that song. Hands down, best Slipknot song ever. So if you're watching this on Instagram, make sure you follow this page. Don't be afraid to comment. Let me know what you guys think down below. And if you're watching this on YouTube, don't forget to subscribe. Hit the notification bell. It's up in the corner, somewhere over there, I think. That way you don't miss out on any content that I post, because I'm always posting new videos and covers and such. Alright, let's talk about this head, because this head's worth talking about. Your tone is very important. It's kind of like your thumbprint. A lot of things go into your, who you are as a guitar player, your tone, your style, and tone is really important. You want to have a good tone. You want to have a nice sound. You don't want to have a crappy tone, because then it just sounds bonk as fuck. But you want to also have something that's reliable and something that's affordable. You know, you don't want to go out and drop 3 G's on a head if it sounds like shit, right? I got very lucky buying this head, because for the longest time all I had really ever kind of lusted after was a Peavey 6505 or a 5150. This is just Peavey's reissue of the 5150. It's the 40th anniversary of Peavey. That's why they call it the 6505. As far as I can tell you guys, inside this head it's all the same components, all the same pieces as the 5150. It's just got a new kind of updated look. That's why they call it the 6505, because it's the 40th anniversary. When I was finally able to get this head last year, it took me a little bit of a time to kind of really dial the tone in. You have to sit down and really play with this and kind of mess with the knobs and really develop a strong bass line before you start to kind of tweak the knobs. So what I did was I took all my knobs and I set them all to 5, straight up. Everything was at 12 o'clock. From there, I just kind of started tweaking knobs here and there, trying to find what worked. And this head is very versatile. You can get a varying range of tones out of it. You can get some heavy metal tones. You can get some bluesy type stuff. You can get some hard rock. And the cleans on it are really killer. But you got to know how to dial it in. There's not a lot of knobs to tweak with, as opposed to like the 6505 Plus, which gives you an extra 3 knob EQ channel to kind of own in your second channel. But with what I have here, I really think I've got it dialed in pretty killer. So let's talk about some of the features really quick of this head. 120 watts of pure fucking American muscle. 2 channels. You got a dirty and you got a rhythm. Now the way they kind of classify this, your rhythm is actually your clean channel, and your dirty is your lead channel. And that's marked with a green and a red light. Okay, so you got your standby, and on the front, you have 2 input jacks. You have a high gain and you have a normal gain. I like to run high gain on mine because it just kind of helps to brighten up the tone. So you have a rhythm pre-gain, which is basically your knob for how much gain you want to add into your tone. Then you have a lead pre-gain. In between those, you have a bright switch and you have a crunch switch, which they sound just like they say. The brightness kind of brightens up your tone. The crunch adds a little more overdrive and a little more fuzziness to your tone. I like to run mine with the bright switch on and the crunch switch off, because the crunch is too much. It just muddies up the sound. It doesn't sound right. But that brightness button actually makes a world of difference. And I tell you that it makes a difference. It's worth running and trying to get a tone with it because it sounds that good. I like a tone that's heavy, that's saturated, that's very dense, that rumbles, has a lot of low end, but it's very clear. I like clarity and highs in my tones. And I keep my mids kind of somewhere in the mid-range, like 4, because I don't like to scoop the mids. I'm not a big fan of the scoop tone. And I like to be able to hit a chord and hear all the notes ring out very clearly. That, to me, is a sign of a good tone, a very robust, well-rounded tone. I get those tones with this head. I always really felt that from the moment that I pulled it out and started messing with it, that I could get whatever tone I was looking for. You just have to be able to develop the time to put into it, and you have to sit down and be patient with it because it takes a while. It took me like 3 months to really find my sound. So the 3-knob EQ, which is right here, you have your low, your mids, your highs. I keep my lows pretty high. It sounds funny when I say it like that. My mids are kind of in the mids. They're about 4, and my highs are at 6. I like to keep my highs up in the higher numbers because it just the more highs I add to it, the more clarity I get. After you get the 3-band EQ, what you get are 2 post-gain knobs. You get a rhythm and a lead. And basically what that is that's just your master volumes. And I'm going to tell you, this thing is loud. I don't even take my volume up to past maybe 1 on the distortion channel, and it is that loud. It is fucking monstrous. Your very 2 last knobs here, you have a resonance and you have a presence. And I keep my resonance very low. It's at 2, and my presence is at 9. Presence is just like it sounds. It's how much presence you're adding to your sound, how much of that head you're actually using. And I kind of have a very unique way of how I run my head because this works for me. Everything you hear in my videos is 100% head. There is no pedals that I use other than an EQ pedal on a couple of my guitars because the pickups are not as hot as some of my other guitars. That EQ pedal helps to kind of bring out the tone. But I don't use any kind of overdrive pedal. There's no distortion pedal. There's no gain. None of that stuff. You know, no actual pedal boxes that I use to enhance my tone other than that EQ pedal that I run on a couple guitars. On the back side of this head, you have an effects loop, which I actually have never used. I'm not a tech guy, so I don't really know too much about the effects loop. All of my pedals are ran front of amp. That's basically just because it was simplistic. It was easy for me to hook up and go. One plug here, bam, we're off and running. I didn't want to have to break my pedal board up, split it into 2 pedal boards, have one go in front of head, and then one running from to and from the effects loop. I like the simple approach, and that's how I have my rig set up. Very, very simple, very easy, and no fuss, no muss. I mean, it's the keep it simple, stupid method. In addition to the effects loop, you have your impedance selector switch on the back. You have your 4, 8, and 16 ohms switch, which is, you know, for your cabs. You want to make your cab match your head, which that's what I have. Right now I'm just running the 1 Marshall 1960. Eventually I will add a second to the rig, which will change some things up. And you have a your extension cab outlet port on there, and that's pretty much about it. Now with this head, like I said before, you can get all these different types of tones. You can get metal tones, you can get like a hard rock sound, you can get a bluesy, warm, kind of fuzzy tone, and you can get some really cool, like clear leads with this, and you can get some glassy tones also if you really, really put the time in. I know that the status quo is green is your clean channel, red is your dirty channel. And there are some people who run that backwards. They use the green channel, your clean, as an actual distortion channel. You just have to know how to tweak the knobs. And then the lead channel they use as like a clean, which is a really unique way of doing it because and I've tried it. You get different sounds. It's really fucking cool. I like to keep it kind of traditional because that works out for me. So I keep my rhythm as my clean, my lead as my distortion, and my lead channel. And it works. You guys have heard my tone. I get a lot of compliments on it, and I'm telling you, it works. It's good. I love it. Wouldn't change it at all for the world. 120 watts will get you a long ways. And you know, when choosing a head, I know a lot of kids out there nowadays are saying, I want to sound like this guy, I want to play like this guy, and I got to have his gear. I mean, that's, you know, that's a way of thinking, but I don't think it's the correct way of thinking. You don't have to have that gear to sound like that person, because there's three things that develop that person's sound. Yes, it's gear, yes, it's style, but it's also the hand. So you may have that gear of that said person or whatever, but that doesn't necessarily mean you're going to sound like them, because you don't play like them. So my biggest thing that I've always told people is buy gear that's affordable within your price range, and something that's reliable. You don't want to buy cheap, crappy stuff that's going to break down on you, or the tubes are going to blow out within a couple weeks. This thing's a workhorse, man, and I've had it for a year, a little over 16 months now, and it sounds better now than it did when I got it, because the tubes are broken. They're fucking sick. It's got 5 12AX7 preamp tubes in it, and it's got 4 6L6 power tubes. 6L6s are the way to go. I know a lot of people like to use EL34s. That's fine if that's your deal, that's your fucking game or whatever. I like 6L6s plain and simple because they got the bite. They got the bark, they got the bite. That's it. That's all you need to know. So I always told people that, you know, if you're going to buy gear, buy stuff that's affordable, things that you can definitely afford to buy, and something that's not going to break down on you. And this Peavey's done all of that. It was a little, you know, little pricey. It's about $1,000, but I could afford it. No big deal. I worked my ass off for it, and I got it. And I don't regret it at all. All my favorite metal bands played Peavey growing up, and then it just kind of piqued my interest to try it. Not hoping to replicate their sound, kind of develop my own sound, but I really think that Peavey was the best way for me to go, and it has suited me, and like I said, I don't regret it at all. Do know that if you buy a Peavey 6505, it does not come with these Halloween lights. These are separate. I bought these at Walmart at Halloween, like $5 for the ghosts and $5 for the pumpkin lights. So you have to go get those on your own. I know you're asking in your head, you're thinking, where do I get those lights? You don't get them from Peavey, get them from Walmart. That's really about it, man. I mean, it's a pretty simple rig. There's not a lot going on tech side on the head. It's pretty standard, but it's a classic. I mean, it's the 5150. That's how Eddie Van Halen kind of, you know, really got his sound, and you know, well, he didn't get that sound, but that head was his kind of his creation. And I mean, it's fucking Van Halen, you know? It's badass. So yeah, I love the Peavey. I would like to eventually have a second one as a spare, which I plan on doing sometime in the next year or so. And I know a lot of people swear up and down by Marshalls, or they like Randall's, or they like Diesel or Bugera. Whatever you play, it doesn't matter what you play, it's how you play it. So go out there, play it loud, and play it proud. Plain and simple. This is just an extension of your playing. It's a tool. So make sure you got the right tools to do the right job, right? That's my 2 cents of good advice. There you go. Yeah, love it. Wouldn't trade it for the world. Peavey 6505. There you go. If you can get your hands on one, get one, test it out, try it, give it a good spin. If you can get your hands on a 6505 Plus, try that, because it gives you a little more dialing in abilities with the extra knobs. But other than that, that's it, man. That's the head. So make sure you like the video. Make sure you subscribe and follow. Don't forget, check back all the time, because I'm always posting new videos. Next video coming up will be one on the Marshall 1960 BB straight front cab. We'll talk about that next, and then after that we'll do a video on the pedal board, and I'll walk you guys through my pedals. All right? Don't forget, Rebellion Republic. Get your Exodus shirt, man. They're going on tour, hopefully, sometime before I die. Later.